What's up guys, it's Intellitech Studios here, and apologies for the very odd background. I'm trying to figure out a good background to have for some videos like this, as well as trying to work with the audio, which is weird. But anyways, I decided that I've been teasing the Galaxy Note 7 review for a very long time, as I have two Galaxy Note 7s, and I have had a Note 7 in my possession for almost a year now, and yet I still have not actually done the review on either of these devices. I did a review on the FE, but not the 7. But one thing that I actually haven't covered yet that I want to cover before I get that review up is how do you actually set up and use a Note 7 in 2019 going into 2020? Because obviously the biggest hurdle when getting a Note 7 working is actually getting it charging and functioning. And once you get it functioning, how do you keep it from updating itself to oblivion? Because as you guys probably know, the Galaxy Note 7 had a software update sent to it that when you install it, and a lot of times it's very difficult to not install it because they pretty much force it down your throat, it will block the ability for the phone to charge, meaning once you're at 0%, the phone will not go up in charge, and in most cases won't even turn on anymore because it won't have enough reserve power to actually turn on the device. So at that point, the only way you'll be able to get it on is if you basically remove the battery and insert a battery that was charged. Then you'd be able to get the phone to turn back on again with the percentage. And then at that point, boot it into download mode and then do all the various steps to get it recovered and back to 100%. But in this scenario, I don't have any more notes that are on 60 or 0% anymore. Both of my notes are currently able to go to 100% charge. This one's at 97, and then my other Note 7 is still in the box. And I just charged that one, so they both go up to 100. So I can't do a tutorial on that because mine are already up at 100. But what I can do is, once you get it to that point, or if you get a Note 7 that has a charge, whether it's 60 or 100, and you want to use it, how exactly do you set it up in a way to where you don't get hit with those forced updates? Well, I'm actually going to show you how, because there is this app called the Alliance Shield X, which you can download on your Note 7 or on any other device, any other Android device. And in my case, this is the Alliance Shield X, and it actually has a function once you get it enabled that will block software updates. So in my specific scenario, if I actually go into the Shield option, I have the Shield enabled on this particular Note 7. And in fact, it's the same scenario on my Note 9 that I'm using to record this video as well. The Shield is basically what will protect you from software updates and will prevent the update from getting sent to your device. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can actually set up the Shield, and I will show you both of those right now because I'm rambling on too much. So the first thing that I'm going to need to do is actually factory reset this phone. Because actually, wait a minute, no, there is one thing you can do before actually needing to factory reset the phone. You don't actually have to factory reset the phone. So I'll actually show you that first. So, and you can either have the phone factory reset, or you can just have it as is. In my case, I have it as is. So I'm actually going to, I'm going to go ahead and take the Shield. As you can see, the Shield is on here. But I'm just going to show you the process of actually installing it, just in case you don't know how to install it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the Shield off, and I'm going to uninstall it, which I'll need to actually go to my administrators and turn this off, which is very dangerous right now. So now I'm not protected by the Shield, or at the very least it's now no longer an administrator, so I can actually uninstall it. And I thought I just turned it off. Deactivate. Okay. Okay, did that deactivate it? It should have. There we go. So now this is uninstalled. So now my phone is officially no longer protected. So I'm going to have to do this very quickly. You have to be careful, otherwise your phone will install the update. So go to your web browser. Now, the safest way to do this is, since the Note 7 has an SD card slot, download it on another phone onto the SD card and then put the SD card in your Note 7 while it's offline. But I'm going to show you how to do it while it's online as well. Is you basically just go into Google and you search Alliance Shield X. Go to the first link, which is on alliancex.org. And then once this loads, scroll down to where it says Shield V3 in this case, and then click on V3, and it's going to ask if we want to download. In my case, I've already downloaded it, so I'm going to go ahead and download it again, and now it's downloaded. So I'm going to open it, and it's going to ask me to install this application. Normally, it would have you go into your settings and enable apps from unknown sources, so just go ahead and do that, and then click install. And for some reason, it's asking me for Play Protect. Doesn't care. I don't care. So let that install. And I would say once you have the device, once you have the file on the phone, go ahead and turn off the Wi-Fi and the mobile data on your phone, just in case your phone tries to push the update. And then don't turn the Wi-Fi or data back on. In fact, just keep your SIM card out of it and just do this on Wi-Fi. And then once you get logged into the Shield, or once you need to log into the Shield, that's when you should go ahead and connect the Wi-Fi back. So you're going to need to make an account with the Alliance Shield X. So if I go to log out, you can see this actually asks me to make an account. So if you need to actually register, just click here and it'll allow you to register for an Alliance X account. And once you put this in, just go ahead and put in your information once you set yourself up an account, and then click on login. And then once you log in, it'll ask you to basically accept and continue. And so now you have to enable the device admin options, which will set this as the device owner. And then once you enable that, you have to enable one of these methods. Samsung Knox will not work if you're on a Note 7 because they disabled it, but you should be able to turn on the Shield V2 method at this point. So as long as one of these methods, now this is the V2 method, so if this method is in place, now your phone is protected and you can go into Shield and then enable the Shield. And in some cases, it'll ask you to go ahead and install some apps, which will basically be updated versions of the software update applications. And then once you do that, they'll be shielded. So basically, if it's asked you to install software and make sure that it installs without any errors, then go ahead and do that. Click OK on all of those. And then once this says that the Shield is enabled, and if you scroll down, once you actually see Shields up in your notification shade, that's how you know that your device is protected. Another thing you can do is you can go into your settings and go to System Updates. And if it either doesn't allow you to click it or your settings crashes, then that's how you know that it's installed correctly. So it will not allow you to install software updates. So that is method one as far as how you can protect yourself with the Shield on the Note 7. So I'm going to show you method 2 right now, which will require me to factory reset the phone, because this next method is a little bit safer. If you're worried about the update getting pushed during the few seconds while you're online without the Shield, then this next method will ease those pains. But it will require another device that is NFC capable. So what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to factory reset the phone. So I'm going to go into the phone and I'm going to factory reset it. And I don't want to format the SD card. I'm going to reset the phone. And it's going to ask me to enter my PIN and delete all. So now I'm factory resetting this phone. And once this phone boots back up, I'll show you how to install the Shield with the V3 method. So as we saw, the previous method was V2, and that's the one where you just install it straight from the phone. This is when you install it during setup, that's V3 method. So what I'm going to show you right now is V3 method. That's when you install it before the phone is even set all the way up. V3 method is essentially like whenever you get a work phone and your work sets up your device with like certain parameters, basically as an admin, like they own the device. That's essentially how we'll be setting up this phone. It's as if the Alliance Shield owns your device and therefore can manually resist and turn off software updates from ever getting through to your phone. And again, this doesn't just work for the Note 7. If you have any other Android device, especially a Samsung device, and you don't want software updates, both of these methods will work perfectly. And also, if you're on another device, you can use the Samsung Knox method to turn on the Shield as well instead of V2 or V3. So if you want to use the Knox method, then whenever the previous steps that I showed you, you would just toggle Samsung Knox on, and that would allow you to activate the Shield. And at that point, it just asks you to agree to the Knox licensing agreement, and then you'd be able to enable the Shield as well. Now, the Shield also includes like a package manager and a firewall and other nice software. And there's actually a newer version that's coming out in the Google Play Store soon that is basically an updated version that you'll be able to download straight from the Play Store. So instead of having to sideload the current version, you'll be able to use the new version as well. And you can actually get the new version if you would prefer that to this version, but I'm still using the legacy version just because I know that it works and I've used it a bunch of times. But I will include links for both versions in the description so you can pick whatever one you want. I have tested both versions on a Note 7 and they both have kept the device protected, so it's just whichever version you're more comfortable with. But they both do the exact same things. It's just the newer version that you get through the Play Store is still being actively developed and have new features added to it. Well, technically, they both have features added to it, but the newer one is still kind of being built, essentially. So as you can see, this Note 7 is booting up for the first time into the setup since I just factory reset the phone. My SD card is still in here, though, so the Alliance Shield X file is still on this device. So that is another option. You can just blow right through the setup without connecting it to anything, and then from that point install the Shield and then put it online. But you know, that's fairly self-explanatory. So I'm going to show you how to actually set this up with the V3 method. So now I'm going to put it on use Wi-Fi. And then once I get to the, yeah, this is all Verizon's crap. So then once I get to the stage where it has Wi-Fi, now what I need to do is I'm going to show you this. So grab another device, ideally an Android device. Well, it has to be an Android device. And it has to be one that supports NFC. This is very important because NFC is required to actually install the Shield with the V3 method. So in this case, I have a Samsung Galaxy S5, and I have the Shield installed on this. I installed this in the same way that I just showed you how to install it on the Note 7 using the V2 method. So this one is set up just using the V2 method, although I actually don't have it enabled, but the point is that the app is installed. So this is fully up to date, so it doesn't really matter if the Shield works on this, but the actual app itself is working. So now what I need to do is go to NFC, and as you can see, it asks, hey, check that your device supports NFC and make sure it's enabled. So I'm going to scroll down to my notification shade, and I'm going to go and make sure that NFC is turned on. So I'm going to enable NFC, and as you can see, NFC is now turned on. So now if I click on NFC, it wants us to input our Wi-Fi ID and password. So whatever your Wi-Fi network is, put in your information. So put in your Wi-Fi information, and then once this box right here turns green, you can see like that box in the center will be either red or green. Whenever this is green, that's when you know that your Wi-Fi parameters are correct. And so now at this point, what you do is you take your Note 7 or any other phone that you want to set up with this method, and you take the other device and you just NFC bump the devices. So we want to make sure that the NFC icon is on the Note 7, that it's recognizing NFC, which it is. And then touch this together, and it will say touch to beam. So we're going to beam it. And here's what pops up on the Note 7. So this is what I mentioned before about it setting it up as an administrator. So I'm going to click OK. And it's going to connect this to Wi-Fi and basically set it up as a work device. And as you can see, it's connected to my Wi-Fi network. So you can see it did connect. And it's installing the admin app, which in this case is the Shield. Now we can set these aside, just make sure this isn't too far away. But you can just set it, a little bit down and just hold your Note 7. And now it's installing the admin app. And it's setting the device owner. And now it's checking the internet connection. And there we go. So now it blew through the rest of the setup, and then now it's asking us to log in, because the Shield is not going to enable itself until we actually log in. So I'm going to log in right now. So I'm going to log in right now, which is what I'm doing. And I'll click log in. And then now we agree to the exact same terms that we did before. So click I understand and continue. And then now we have V3 on, the V3 method for the Shield, and the admin is enabled. So now we can launch the Shield, click on the Shield, and enable it. There we go. So now that the Shield is enabled, if I go into my settings of this, and as you can see it says unshielded now, but if I go back, we can see Shield's up. So since this is in the notification shade where it says shields up, that's how we know that this device is fully protected. So now if I go to settings and I click on software updates, guess what doesn't work? Software updates does not work. So now my Note 7 is properly set up on the network, but completely protected. So now at this point, if you have a SIM card, you can throw it in here. If you want to put all of your accounts on here, your Samsung account, your Google account, all your other stuff, you can now use your Note 7 as a normal phone without having to worry about any updates going through and crippling your device. So that's two different methods right there that you can use to set up your Note 7 via the Shield. You can either set it up with the before the setup with V3, or you can use V2 and just blow through the setup. And at this point, right now, you can then go into the browser or go into your SD card and install the Shield. Or like I mentioned before, you don't even have to reset your phone if you want to set it up with the V2 method, as I showed before. So I hope that guys helped you. I hope that guys helped you. I hope that helped you guys with setting up your Note 7 in a way that is safe, so that way you don't have to worry about software updates bricking your device. And so now you should be able to use your Note 7 completely protected, and you will no longer ever have to deal with software updates unless you, of course, unless you go out of your way to take the actual Shield off of there. But with any normal usage, you can continue to use the phone as normal, and you don't have to worry about anything getting bricked or anything getting shut off. You can see this particular device is at 90%. It'll charge up to 100% just fine. This is a Gen 2 unit, as you can see, and it's working perfectly, no issues. So anyway guys, this was Intelitech Studios with a quick tutorial on how to safely set up and use your Galaxy Note 7 in 2020, 2019, or any other Samsung phone that you don't want software updates to be installed on your device. I hope this video helped. For any of those, oh my gosh, I can't talk today. For any of you guys out there who still have these phones, let me know in the comments below if you're still rocking the Note 7 and if you still like this phone. And yeah, or people who just have them and just want to keep them around. And, maybe they don't want to have to keep it on airplane mode. They want to connect it once in a while, but are worried about that. This is a good option for you. So as you can see, everything is working just fine. One thing that's weird, a weird little bug that I noticed, is that if you set up the Shield with the V3 method, which is what I just did, the wallpapers and theme option goes away from the settings, which is very odd. I don't know why it does that. For some reason, that just disappears from the settings as an option whenever you set it up this way. And this is the same thing whether it's on my Verizon or on my T-Mobile Note 7s. So it's kind of weird, but of course, if you really want to set up this way, you can still access it from here, and that's no big deal. Or if that really bothers you, not having that one little toggle there, then of course you can set it up with the V2 method. Just again, you got to be very careful about the way you set it up, so a software update doesn't get forced to your device while you're trying to set it up. So it can be kind of nerve-wracking, I understand that, but that's why the V3 method exists. So this is the more secure way of getting it set up if you are worried about, stuff happening while you're trying to set this up safely. So anyway, guys, that was my video on how to properly set up the Galaxy Note 7 for use in 2019 and 2020 and beyond. And I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful for those of you who are still holding on to your Note 7s. Anyway, guys, this is Intelitech Studios signing out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.